Hello everyone, and did someone say Summer Games event?
Summer Games event!
Well, would you look at that? They did indeed! It is happening, everyone! And it's about time we got an official video confirmation and some details of what's gonna happen. Because we all kinda thought it would come bundled with Doomfist, right? He'd burst through the wall onto the scene and go, pool party! And it just kinda didn't happen. And I am a little bit conflicted. I really am. Also,
Roadhog, I'm sorry, Roadhog is not getting anything. Roadhog, I'm sorry, Roadhog is not, Roadhog is not getting anything. Roadhog, I'm sorry,
Why, Jeff?
Roadhog is not getting anything.
Why, Jeff?
I'm sorry, Roadhog is not getting anything.
So, firstly, let's talk skins, because as we all know, Overwatch is a cosmetic collection game with a side mini-game activity where you shoot people. I think, I don't really know, I don't play that part of the game. It's a little bit silly, if I'm honest with you. So, this is obviously the first event where we have the no duplicates, or at least very few duplicates, which should make a lot of people very happy, because they're also including all of the items that were available last year. So yeah, final full confirmation that we do get the items back, but with new ones each time, which potentially leads to problems in a few years where an event drops and there is quite literally hundreds of potential items for a new player, and it starts to feel a little bit overwhelming even with the loot box changes. But for people keeping up with the events, this is undoubtedly
Good news, everyone!
So, the other neat thing that's happening is every skin that was already available last year is now buyable for the price of normal skins. So 1,000 for Legendary instead of the usual 3,000. The actual new stuff will still be the 3,000, but it is a nice gesture to not have to work super hard to get skins that, well, just aren't new and exciting anymore. So, the coolest thing about all of this, well, depending on where you stand, is the game mode that is coming back. It is Lucio Ball, and it's been heavily requested. People loved it, and it's being delivered. Now, I am of the mind where if they just said, yo, Lucio Ball, it's coming back, have fun, I would have been, oh, that's a little bit lazy, right? Like, I get that it was fun and people wanted it, but just putting it back in how it was, I mean, that feels a little bit lazy. Surely, for the people that experienced it last year, it needs to be a little bit different. Otherwise, it's just gonna get duller and duller each year, you know? It'd be a little bit lazy just to put it back in how it was. And I was honestly ready to make a video talking about that. I really was. But they are mixing it up a little, which is where my conflict comes from. So before we dive into that, what are they changing? Well, they're doing various little balance tweaks, like you can't boot other Lucios now, so you can't abuse goalkeepers. The Ultima, instead of pulling the ball towards you, makes you, well, ascend to the next level. You jump higher, you move faster, and you can boop the ball a lot more. So that's fine, you know, it solves people's problems with the really cheesy strats. There's also the fact that we are getting a new arena in the form of the Sydney Arena, so the visuals will be different, and that is always welcome. And then the major change is that they are actually, for the 3 weeks of this event, adding competitively ranked Lucio Ball. You do placement games, you can get top 500 and get really cool rewards. And at that point, I'm like, oh, I'm just so, because I've always harped. I was trying to make it sound like an angelic harp, but it didn't work. On about how the game needs diversity in competitive modes. It really desperately does. I would have never guessed, however, that Lucio Ball, of all things, was going to be the first mode where I could queue for a match where I gain or lose rating outside of competitive as we know it. That's just, I mean, it's kind of cool in a way, because obviously Lucio Ball rewards an entirely different skill set to normal Overwatch, Overwatch, and therefore an entirely different subset of players will excel at it, and that is fantastic. That's what you want to encourage with extra competitive modes. You want to develop other aspects of the game, and fine Lucio control is finicky, and we're going to see some really cool things emerge from this, and it's going to be really intense to play ranked Rocket League Lucio Ball in Overwatch, and that's exciting, right? That is definitely spicing things up, giving the people who played it last year answers to problems and a way to really go for it in a whole new level, and then giving people that are experiencing it for the first time an even better first experience. All around, it's a win-win. But why do I feel, despite rationally knowing all that, disappointed? And this is the conflict I keep talking about. And I think it's because ultimately, no matter how many new bells and whistles you put on Lucio Ball, it's still Lucio Ball, and it's a good mode. But what if next year we get Lucio Ball again, and there's another ranked season, and it's done a few balance changes, there's a new arena, sure, but it is Lucio Ball again. What's the event called, everyone? It's called the Summer Games 2017. It was called the Summer Games 2016, and there's a very specific letter in there that seems to be neglected, and I might just be me being picky, but if it keeps being Lucio, which will inevitably get boring, it's not the Summer Games 2017, it's the Summer Game 2017, and this really is where the crux is for me. Because surely, as much as we like the mode, it would be way cooler if every year for the Summer Games there was a new sport represented in Overwatch. If the beach themes that the skins might take end up being true, what if we had volleyball in Overwatch? Low gravity settings, the ball's very floaty, you gotta keep it up with punching it backwards and forwards across the net, keep it off the ground. There'd be loads of heroes that would have really cool ways of doing that, all the knockbacks, the various different strengths, literally let you pick anyone. Obviously you can't shoot each other, but everything else you can do. You can have Farah for aerial dunks, you can have Roadhog for his ulti just permanently keeping it over the other side of the net. You can have some really cool strategies. So what if every year a new sport game mode is represented in Overwatch, and then after that, every year both of them are available, then all three of them are available, then all four of them, and you actually have the Summer Games, a more Olympic level event, which they're trying to paint this as, a huge sporting festival that's located in a different city around the world each year in the lore world of Overwatch. So it's weird that everybody is gathering around from across the globe to watch Lucio play football again. Imagine if the World Cup was every year, it would lose its shine. So what if it was an entire array of sports-based Overwatch modes? Each one could have its own league table. You could follow people as they go from game to game through the weeks of the event and have a whole cool sporting league going on within Overwatch. How epic would that be? So to hear that it's Lucio Ball again, the initial reaction is, I like it, but, To hear the extra stuff was, oh, that's cool, more rank modes, that is delicious and so healthy for the game. But then, it's still Lucio Ball, and are any of you guys feeling that way? I want your thoughts on this, I really, really do. And then there is also the concern that they've kind of exchanged one vice for another. Now that we know there is rewards for doing well in Ranked Lucio Ball, and you can only play Ranked Lucio Ball for 3 weeks, is it not just going to create a load of pressure for people that want them to keep playing and playing and playing to maintain their rank, to keep gaining rank? And yes, obviously the argument comes back, well, if you're not enjoying it, why are you doing it? If you are enjoying it, then yeah, keep playing. But it's the same difference with the loot boxes, right? People were feeling forced to farm every loot box they could during an event to the point where the loot box was the focus over the actual enjoyment of what they were doing. And I could quickly see this happening with competitive Lucio Ball, and honestly I do think it's kind of genius from Blizzard's perspective. They've toned down loot boxes, made them less of a need to farm, but then added something else in that's going to increase player retention as well. It's dastardly, and I can't deny that it's good, and the thing is, it won't matter, because it's the first time it's happened. It's going to be fun. I'm going to be there playing it constantly, trying to get high ranked in Lucio Ball, because that sounds like a blast of a time. But what I will say about competitive Lucio Ball, if Rocket League is anything to go for, the salt is going to be turned up to 11. The wow, 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 nice shot, nice shot, nice shot. Like, can you imagine that kind of environment and mentality in Overwatch? I can personally say from experience, having played a lot of ranked Rocket League, it is screen punchingly anger-inducing when things don't go your way when rank is on the line. So I am concerned how this is going to go down in Overwatch. But I like to look at these things on a both sides basis, and I think there's a lot to be said about this. If next year is also Lucio Ball but a bit different, I think then we really start to have a problem, and I would hope that the events do change a little. Like it was hinted at that when Junkenstein's Revenge comes back around for Halloween, we're going to have more of Eichenwald open up. We're going to have a more extended, filled out game mode, and that's awesome to see. The story of that event evolving year to year. Because right now, it just seems like we're on track for it being really dull. But then again, we might not be the people it's aimed at. There's going to be new players joining every year, and then they all get to experience Lucio Ball for the first time, and maybe we need to accept that it just is Lucio Ball time. There is definitely merit to the argument this event should be this game mode. You know that's going to happen, you can look forward to it or not, but it is a fixed thing and the routine stays. There is definitely benefits to that, but I don't know, Overwatch is a universe where you can do so much silly event stuff with it, that to hear that we're not going to get anything other than just Lucio Ball again, I don't know. But at the same time, I freaking love that we're getting a non-competitive ranked mode, so I'm going to be all over this. So, yeah, I am a dog chewing a toffee on this one, everyone. I really am. Let me know your thoughts, like if you enjoyed this, subscribe for more, and I will see you next time. Good boy. Also, we do have to consider that this time around we're going to be able to do custom lobby Lucio Balls. I would be shocked if not, which means we get to do low gravity, super speed, and all of that jazz, which is going to add a whole other dimension to it. But again, that only works once extra, right? Next year that's not going to be a hype thing unless major ridiculous settings are added. And again, every time I think about this, there's but this is really good, but also I think this would be cool. I'm kind of sad that it's not this, and it's